Alright, fellow Slayers, it's time to take a look at the next episode of the day, which is Spiral. With Gloria now possessing knowledge that Dawn is the key, Buffy and Dawn run for their lives. They escape thanks to Ella's magic and a large semi-truck slamming into Gloria on the street, causing her to transform into Ben. The gang gathers in Xander's apartment and discusses possible plans of action. Buffy declares they will never be able to defeat Glory, and they must leave town to stay alive. Spike solves their transportation problem by procuring a sun-protected Winnebago. Jones and Xander aren't pleased by Spike accompanying them, but Buffy says she and Spike are the only ones who stand a chance of protecting Dawn in the event that Glory catches up to them. She makes it clear the subject is not open for discussion. Ben talks to one of Glory's minions, arguing he is just a human body encasing Glory's god form. Knights of Byzantium retrieve Orlando from Sunnydale Memorial, who babbles that the key is a shiny girl. Harmony Knight's leader, General Gregor, to realize the key is the Slayer's sister. Giles, driving the RV, talks to the motion-sick Xander about Buffy's state of mind. Worried about their future plans, Buffy is covered up by Dawn until the Knights attack. When Sword through the roof nearly stabs Buffy, but Mike stops it with his bare hands. While Buffy fights the Knights from the top of the RV, one Knight impales Giles with a flying spear, causing the RV to crash onto its side. The Scooby seeks shelter in an abandoned gas station, where Buffy fends off the attackers until Willow performs a force field spell. Meanwhile, in the Sunnydale Memorial Psychiatric Ward, while patients repeatedly mutter, "It's time." Spike suggests to Xander that they run, using the captured journal as hostage to keep the Knights outside from giving chase. Though Xander points out that, should things go south for them, Spike will not be able to fight due to the Knights of Byzantium being humans. The vampire argues that, if they were to stay where they were for longer than they should, the Scoobies were bound to meet their end regardless. Not by the Knight's swords, then by Glory's hand. Since Hellcat is bound to figure out where they are sooner or later. At least by making a run for it, some of the Scoobies might survive. However, Buffy refuses to let anyone die. Buffy questions the General, who reveals that Glory once ruled over Hell Dimension as part of a triumvirate of suffering and despair, only to be banished by the other two when they grew to fear her. As a result, Glory was trapped inside a mortal body, in which she was mentally dormant. Buffy realizes this is her only weakness. Kill the mortal and Glory dies as well. However, Gregor's ways of Glory's mortal host has never been found. He also reveals the key was created to open up the gateway between dimensions, and Glory tends to use this power to return to her own dimension. However, this will also dissolve the boundaries between dimensions and destroy all of them. Buffy promises Dawn that she'll protect her. Realizing Giles is seriously injured, Buffy arranges a deal with the Knights to allow a doctor to safely pass. She calls Ben, and he stabilizes Giles. Alone with him, the General suspects Ben is an outsider and tempts him with the idea of killing Dawn. Ben realizes Glory is about to take over his body and tries to leave the force field, but Glory soon comes forth. Glory kills General Gregor, fights off the Scooby Gang to take Dawn, and bursts through the force field. By the time Willow releases the field to go after Glory, the Hell Goddess has disposed of all of the Knights and disappeared with Dawn. Knowing they have to move fast, everyone heads for Ben's car to chase after Glory. Buffy, however, abruptly sits down on the ground, crying as Willow tries to call for her. Oh boy. So now let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. This is the second time Buffy uses a sword as a weapon. The first time was in Becoming Part 2. Buffy mentions Adam's death by pulling in his uranium power core in Primeval. Willow's eyes turn black when she casts powerful spells in this episode, the third time in which this effect occurs on her, following Becoming Part 2 and Tough Love. Xander makes reference to the judge and the episode Innocence. Orlando displays knowledge of Dawn's identity as the key. In Blood Ties, she visited the mental ward looking for answers while he was there and he recognized her. Dante mentions having 10 of his men dead. As 7 Knights have been killed in this episode, he also refers to 3 men killed by Glory in Blood Ties. While this is the first time most of the Scoobies witness Ben transformed to Glory, Spike will be the only one to clearly remember this fact. And now let's take a look at some production notes. According to Stephen S. DeKnight, the scene where the Knights of Byzantium attack the Scoobies in the Winnebago is an homage to the 1939 Western film Stagecoach. DeKnight has also scribed, quote, "In the first draft of the outline for the script, the opening action scene where Buffy's trying to escape from Glory with Dawn was massive. It was a 10-minute long escape scene, Buffy gets smacked into a tree 100 feet away. She ends up beating Glory with a sheared off lamp pole. There was big action. Joss Whedon read it and said, "This is great, this is wonderful. Cooper could have filmed this in 20 days for $5 million, so cut everything." I'm like, "Great, okay, that's fine. As long as I get the Knights chasing Winnebago." End quote. So now let's take a look at some pop culture references. Santa's apartment has a poster of the 1949 novel Tough Kid from Brooklyn from author Robert Mende. Anya mentions characters Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd, while Joss refers to the antics of Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. Spike mentions the idea of taking a vehicle of the manufactured Porsche instead of the Winnebago. Santa says that Spike can be Undead Man Walking, a play on the book and movie Dead Man Walking. Anya offers to cook canned meat of the brand Spam. Glorious minions cast runestones, an ancient divination technique by Anglo-Saxon runes. Spike jokingly compares Buffy to Florence Nightingale, the founder of modern nursing. Santa mentions learning war rules from the comic book character Sergeant Rock, a war veteran. Wilco's thanks Byzantium's clerics Heckle and Jekyll, a pair of cartoon magpies. Spike calls General Gregor Scarface, a reference to the film with the same name, later General Armorall, a reference to the car care product brand. Buffy refers to the Outer Limits when talking to Ben about the situation with the Knights at the gas station. And now finally, let's take a look at a goof. As Knights of Byzantium march off from the woods, a man is visible in the bottom right corner dressed in bright red flannel and with a clear earpiece in his ear. So I think this episode is kind of interesting, and yeah, the fact that Glory now has Dawn is not a good thing. So yeah. So overall, I give Spiral 4 vampire steaks out of 5. When we tuned in bed, we took the final episode of the day, The Weight of the World. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.